She says recording in process. Okay. It says recording in process, so it's okay.
So we're on, Leslie?
I think so. Yep.
All right. Now let's call the meeting to order. In the Bradenton Library Board of Trustees. And the first order of business, per usual, is the secretary's report, i.e. the minutes of the February 13th meeting. I would just, what is it, Michael, do we vote to accept, but then we have debate or discussion after that? Is that right, according to Robert?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Okay, and is there a second?
Now you can have.
Now we can have debate and discussion. All right, if there is any, and of course, me being true to form, I have one small thing. I think in the section called the librarian's report section, with the minutes, there's a phrase about the current municipal funding quote is not sustainable, unquote. And I think what was meant was to say that the current level of municipal funding needs to be re-examined or is not adequate. Because otherwise it sounds like the current municipal funding is not sustainable if the municipalities can't maintain the current level of funding.
Aha.
That's the way I read it.
And this was in the minutes,
In the
got
minutes.
it. Yes, no, the right. Yes, that is a good clarification.
We get here late.
Please, no, there's a spot here.
Oh, okay.
And there's one down by Carl.
So that was my only comment about the minutes. Are there any other comments, corrections, points of discussion about the minutes? You should maybe like Tommy or Allison, did you have anything? I didn't have, I read to you about it. Okay,
I did have one thing. I'm not sure. This might have been you, Carl. This is under material selection policy about, I thought it was Terry that made the recommendation to change the word from values to values. And it might one. I don't know. There's under material selection policy.
Oh, yeah.
In the minutes. And it was a wording change. But
yeah,
I was struck with it because I was sitting next to him and it may have been more than one.
I think I raised it too. Maybe
Okay.
I Terry did too, but I,
Okay.
it's fine.
That's.
Yeah, I think it was just a,
I mean,
yeah, I think it was just a, it would sound like we were judging books by their values rather than the value
Oh, that's right.
of the material. That's it. In these days, it's distinction clear about. Okay, so we can change that to that.
I mean, it's,
Okay,
because I just-
all right. And are there any other comments about the minutes? If not, take the motion to accept the minutes with these small changes. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? Okay, minutes approved as amended. I did not have any adjustments to the agenda. Is there anything else that the group should know of? Change in the agenda? Move on to a couple brief comments. First of all, as I mentioned to Leslie, to some of the employees involved in it, I wanted to say, on a personal basis, say kudos to the history of the presentation on Saturday regarding 3 late 19th century women photographers in the Mid-Coast. We were fortunate to have the assistant curator for the Maritime in the presentation. I thought it was really good. So good work, and there's good stuff coming. The next one is on Maine and Mid-Coast and the connection to the West Indies trade. So it was really interesting subject. The executive committee session today I think, was intended to be a discussion of the board self-assessment. That may not be something entirely right for discussion, since the governance committee had wanted to um, investigate getting an executive summary to sort of streamline and make the discussion more efficient or focused. As of right now, that hasn't happened. I know Leah did a little bit of work and background on that, but I'm just saying that I think it might be, I would say, it might be better to defer that till next month. And we'll, there's some possibilities for having MAP or someone connected with MAP doing the executive summary. We're not able to, turned out to be more complicated than we thought. And so there isn't something available yet. There may also be a cost involved, which I think we put up. We haven't progressed that far. Think whether that's feasible. So that's, we'll say defer the executive session then. I thought worth noting, and a great example of the library's impact and service to the community was the comment in Hannah's report about the library being the third busiest tax preparation assistance application site in Maine. I don't know if that's just AARP or however that's qualified, but regardless of that, it's a great statistic. And I think a great one to cite when we're talking to our constituent communities. And those are my comments. We'll go on to the next, to the librarian's report.
Okay,
Leslie.
thank you, Paul. Just a couple things before we talk about the agenda items here. Did any of you, I'm getting over a cold in my throat, it's very dry. Did any of you have a chance to check in the children's room on your way up today? Did you see how, I don't know if you noticed the activity and the busyness in the room?
Yes,
So,
Lego club.
yes, but what's really interesting, I want to point out just a couple of things about that if you had a chance. I know after the meeting, the group will be done, but I've noticed over the weeks and actually over the months with Lego Club specifically, but it's really morphed into more than just a hub where kids get together and build things with Legos. If you really spend some time in there and look around, I saw today about 5 parents sitting together and talking. So it's really morphed, and it's just another way that I think is really important to sort of talk about how important the library is for parents to get together it's as a gathering space. So it's not just for kids, but to do Legos. It's not, but we have these homeschool socials where it's for parents to get together to talk about what they're doing to help and build curriculum for their kids as they homeschool them. There's so many ways when somebody says Lego Club, that doesn't really tell the story. And that you really got a visual, to see it, to really see what's happening. And I just wanted to point that out, that I was astounded by the connections that not just the kids, but the adults were making with each other in the room. And then to build on that, John Byram, who is a regular patron, he's got 3 kids, always in the library. He runs our Minecraft Mondays and the upstairs, in the community room, which is huge success. If any of you know what Minecraft is, it's just building worlds through servers online, and kids are addicted. My kids, when they were younger, were as well. And he's volunteered to run this program. It's hugely popular. Well, his wife just gave birth to their 4th child, Alfred. And when Alfred was 12 months old, his father came in and got us for his library club. That's how important it was to him. 12 hours, excuse me, not 12 months. No. I lost the impact. Damn. 12 hours old. He came in and got his son a library card because that's how important it was to have a card for his.
You get a lifetime membership. That's like youngest library.
So we're gonna capitalize on that, get some pictures, but 12 hours old he came in. So I think that just shows how much more valued in the community. And I just really, he just showed me that and showed me some pictures today as a proud new papa, but I had to share that with the group because I think that's,
Challenge behind that, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So, so we're excited to welcome Alfred as our newest library baby, but also, I think the connections are, we had our 15th feasibility study interview today. So we've wrapped those up. And one of the things we talked about with the last person we interviewed was just how important those connections are, especially for our older population, because connections are sometimes our lifeline for people that live alone, and how the library can be that place for people, to build these connections. So I know, like for me personally, and this person who knows everybody in town, when I come to work every day and see not just the faces of the staff, but people I know, how energizing that is to me, and how I know it is to the things that I see them come in. And it's fabulous. But I think, I just am sort of wanted to share that with you all. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, we want to continue on with our discussion about the staff and trustee relationship building. We had a great fall where we did the job shadowing, and I know many of you participated and many of you shadowed more than one staff members. So I think that's fantastic. And thank you to Elizabeth for setting that up. Yes. And I think that's
Oh, good.
something
That's
what I'd like to do too, when we have new trustees come on, is that we make it part of an option for like an orientation. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. We haven't talked to governance about, ongoing, but it's something that we definitely want to continue to offer. Certainly. I mean, that's, good relationship building and learning, about the library and what the staff do, and for new trustees to learn. Oh, very good. I hadn't thought about that. So I was thinking about some additional opportunities for relationship building. And of course, there's one great opportunity that we have this spring. There's a couple things I've thought about. Two in particular, and I'm referencing back the relationship building list I put together, which is on the Google Drive under staff and as well as in the March board packet. But National Library Week is April 7th through 12th. And National Library Workers' Day is April 9th. So that is a day that might be nice if the board would like to do something for the staff. It could be something simple like, providing lunch or providing donuts and whatever. But I think National Library Workers' Day would be a really wonderful opportunity for the board to, to honor staff and the work that they do. And April 9th is the date. The other thing I thought about, and maybe that's something we could do in the fall, we haven't scheduled our next all staff meeting. The last one we just had was on the violent intruder Alice training. But something that I've done, participated in when I've been involved in groups where we wanted to get to know one another, I was thinking of having like an all staff meeting where we invited the trustees, anyone that could come, and everyone just would spend 5 minutes just talking about themselves, just really to learn about each other. And we did that when Elizabeth started her book group, and I found it really interesting and a real way to sort of connect with people. So in this group of us, we had actually met, I think, a couple of times before we started introducing ourselves, and I found that it really enhanced the future conversations that we had as a group. And I felt it changed the dynamic of the group a little bit as we got to know one another. And I would really like to see that as a future thing that we could do together as well. So I'm throwing a couple of those ideas out there. I think the first, because it's coming up on April 9th and the National Library Workers' Day would be a great opportunity for for show appreciation, but that will be something that the board would need to coordinate. I'm happy to to coordinate, the staff meeting and that, but this would be something. So that just throwing those out there.
We have some staff members here. Any ideas? But, because the board is, has the
Best donuts.
I don't know, so yeah, Paula, what do you think?
That's lovely, you know.
Yeah.
I think any recognition would be appreciated. I mean, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I didn't, I just threw that out there. Yeah.
Speaking for myself, any recognition would be lovely.
Yeah. I think National Library Workers Day, there's no more perfect day than that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be the day that if,
That-
and the library workers, but the library staff know that day. I mean, they all know that that's, it, you know.
That's a board, is that the day of a board meeting too?
Oh, is it?
Oh,
I think so.
Oh, then, yeah, is that a two? I don't know what day that, I didn't
Yeah.
check.
It is.
So that could, you know,
National Library
Library Workers Day.
How come when I worked, there was no lawyer appreciation?
I know.
We get nothing.
I
Oh,
bet.
don't.
Yeah, if anything, yeah.
You really
Well,
don't want to
depends on-
invite lawyer judges.
Right.
do you?
Michael, I think that's.
Unless you're like Joe Bornstein or somebody like that. So I think those are both, I personally really like both of those
Sure.
ideas. And then-
no, not here.
It's not very-
I don't believe it. Thank you.
All right.
Does the staff usually do something on that day? Do they? No.
Will there be a, I don't know, a sign up or a banner up or something in the library that people can then just point out for patrons that it is National Library Week?
I think Hannah, I'm looking at, but I think we do, in the past, we've done programming and things around that, and so I know, I haven't talked with Hannah and Samantha whether there's, but we do advertise it, but I
Okay.
don't know how we're planning on doing it this year. It might be in conjunction with some programs we have
Sure.
going on. I'm just, yeah, but we usually do something. I just don't know how we tie it into.
Okay, that'd be
Yeah.
great, because the patrons should be wearing.
Oh,
maybe-
absolutely.
Maybe prompt them to express some appreciation and recognize that.
Yeah.
So,
Is National Library Week the same as Library Workers' Day?
Well, National Library Week is the 7th through the 12th, and then Workers' Day is within that week on one
Okay.
particular day,
All
right?
right.
So, yeah,
Getting things confused.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to just talk about was something that sort of came up fairly recently. We are going to be needing to make some changes to our payroll process. And so I just really, more than anything, I'm just alerting you. I don't know what that's going to be yet. I've talked with Tommy, the chair of our finance committee, and our bookkeeper. We use QuickBooks currently, and so we have software, and then QuickBooks charges us small fees for direct deposit and various things like that. But they're moving towards a subscription-based model, which our software, which is, they're no longer supporting the version that we have as of May. It's how I always end up looking at Allison, and she's shaking her head. So everything is moving towards a subscription-based model. And that's going to jack up the price quite a bit for the library. So we are looking at some alternatives. One of the alternatives I'm seriously looking at is outsourcing payroll, which we currently do not do. But what I'm finding out is I'm not really sure it's actually going to be all that much more expensive than what we're already paying. So I'm working on that right now. I spoke with our CPA, Bill Brewer's office, and he's given me some suggestions for places to call to get quotes. And so I'm in the process of doing that right now. So I'm going to be crunching some numbers. And so I just kind of want to let you all know, I don't think it's not a trustee decision. It's more of an operations decision. And I'll be talking, but it does have financial implications. So I will be, but I just don't know what those all yet, because I'm still working on crunching some numbers.
What is is there a timeline or a deadline?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there is, because the software, let's see, so we're really gonna need to make a decision. I'm gonna need to make a decision within the next probably 3 weeks, because whoever we go with is gonna need a few weeks to do the conversion over, and so that we get all the staff, everybody lined up to move to a new system. Another reason, though, I will tell you why I'm very interested in going to outsource payroll is the sort of I hate to use this term, but the hit by the bus scenario. Like right now, I've written up instructions and I've gone over with with Josephina, our bookkeeper. If God forbid something were to happen with her, I would have to do payroll. We don't have a backup person to do our payroll. And so, if you get a company where they do it, again, there'll always be someone to do it. And I mean, it's such a, we can't not pay our staff. And so we can't be late with it. People depend on it, they need it on time. And so I feel that it's really important that we consider a service, especially since when I start crunching numbers, I think I'm going to find that it's not going to be all that different price. So with that being said, more to come, but I really just wanted to give you a heads up that that is happening, and that
Does this include managing benefits too? I mean, it keeps track of leave and.
we do, they do, they have, we keep, so Josephina, our bookkeeper will still have some of that management. She'll still be submitting, depending on how we do it, she'll still be submitting the hours through a portal to the payroll. So there'll still be some management on our end. But what it will also do is tighten up the way we, for good, in a good way, tightening up the accrual of hours. So they'll manage all the accrual in their system.
Do they do all the filings also?
Absolutely.
That's nice.
And it'll be really great because whoever we go with, they'll do the filings. I'll be able to log into a portal and pull all the reports that I need. It'll either interface with QuickBooks, or they'll send all the information we need for a bookkeeper to enter that back into. Our bookkeeper will still do the retirement. There's certain, she'll still process those benefit things. So I think it's a really smart direction for the library to move in. So, so over the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing a lot more research and then talking with Tommy and just looking at, what budget implications we need to look at and bringing that to finance for future. It's not going to be so much this fiscal year because we're getting so close to the end of the fiscal year before we actually migrate over. But it'll have more implications next year. So there'll be discussions in the finance committee. And for staff, it'll be pretty seamless. They currently log into it now, and they'll be just logging into a different portal that's set up. It'll actually, I think the experience is going to be a little bit nicer for staff. They'll be able to go, and when they need to do withholdings right now, if they want to change their withholdings, they give a sheet to our bookkeeper who takes care of it. Now they can go right into their portal and they'll be able to put their own withholdings in and make changes like that all online themselves.
Just keep it apprised of the process. I mean,
Oh,
like you say,
absolutely.
it's interesting to know.
Yeah,
how it
it's really
works.
interesting.
Sounds-
I sure will. So yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that there are going to be some changes.
What does your fiscal year run from?
July to June.
Okay.
So yeah, so just wanted to let you know that was something in the works.
Is there anything else other than what you?
Those were the things on my agenda.
Okay.
Questions for me?
So one quick, so you wouldn't really anticipate an adjustment to the budget? What-
Not in this
at this
fiscal
point?
year. Not this fiscal year.
Hey,
Can I ask a question? I was just wondering, and this isn't about payroll, but I was just wondering about, the financial narrative that has to go to the towns, or what's the status of that?
When you see financial
Well,
Well,
narrative,
for the budget, yeah, for the budget, because I'm thinking in May, I don't know about the other towns, but our budget meeting is in May. And I'm just wondering, will we have, remember we talked about having more of a narrative to make the case for the budget increase?
yeah, so what's interesting, so there's a couple things is for town meeting, I have a plan, but it's not a budget narrative. It's not, I did not need to go to Woolwich Town budget meetings. So I have not been to any And I've not been contacted by West Bath. And I'm not, so so far I've not been to any, nobody has, I will be going to Bath. But it'd be more of talking, than having something written out. It's gonna be more of what I give for, we had talked about in the finance committee not doing so much of a, heavily written is what was done in the past, but moving more towards a value statement and going back to the way I had done it before, which does cover budget stuff, but it's a little bit different. So that's something we'll have to talk about, I think, in the finance committee, a little more, because when I make presentations to the towns, I go over why the budget change, what the rationale for the reasoning, why we're asking for what we're asking for, but it's not been so much in a written form. So I don't know, I guess, to answer your question, because what I'm presenting, what's gonna go in the handout.
Right, but in Georgetown anyway, there's the budget meeting in May.
So, but I think I really, yeah,
So you say, I'm sorry, something else.
Well, the meeting, I mean, the town meeting is in June, but the budget discussion, when the budget is set for, meeting in May. And so issues can come up then, and so will we have,
Can
will
I-
I have,
can I come to that meeting? Because I'd like to come. That would be really how I'd like to be able to answer those
Okay.
questions. But
okay,
I've never been invited. When I send out the letters, I say I'm happy to come. I'd love to come and talk about it. That's really what I.
Right.
So is there a way that I can come? I mean, that's really,
that's a good, I don't know, I mean, I don't.
because that's
see
how I'd
why-
love to answer the question,
Right,
because
right.
things are gonna come up
Yes.
even beyond what's written down. And I think that's the best
Yeah,
way for me
Because a
to.
couple of questions did come last year. I was at the meeting. One was, had to do with, I think how many card holders there were from Georgetown, and I had that
Right.
information,
I
but
can-
things can come up that I don't have.
And I can give
And
you all
we're gonna
that.
have an
but that-
increase this year, so.
And I can give you all that, but I'd love to
Okay.
be there.
No, that would
I'd
be
love to be
fine,
there to
actually.
answer the
That would
questions.
be fine.
But yeah,
Okay,
that would be my
I'll-
first choice. And then I can bring all those, which is what I do. Like when I went to Woolwich in the past, I had all of that stuff and I shared it all, but then I could sort of, right, West Bath, Woolwich,
Who let you off the hook this year? Is that what happened?
let me off the hook. I don't know why. I was all ready to go. And then I heard back from Kim that said, everybody's set. They don't need you to come unless you want to come. And I thought, well, if everybody's comfortable
No,
with
we
our
sort of, I
request.
mean, you've been coming for years.
Years, right? We all know each other, but I was happy to come and I think
Yeah, I
said no,
can't
was
remember
it?
how that-
Yeah. So I said,
So
okay.
you'll check them and see if this may.
Yeah, I would really,
Sure.
because I've
I'd
never
love to.
come, I would love to come to Georgetown and talk about our funding request, actually. I'd really like to do that.
Is there any thought that the financial change anything in terms of how that's progress for this year? The funding model. means just-
Yeah, I think we're ready to report anything. I don't know if it'll. Yeah.
Yes. Move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda? Tommy, second. Peggy? Okay. Right. Okay, now we'll move up to vote. Discussion debate on the committee reports that are listed here. Tommy?
I have two questions about in the monthly report.
Okay,
In the outreach section, talking about the Chamber of Commerce. Is there a role for the board in that relationship?
Well, as a matter of fact,
Yeah, so,
Well, I mean,
yeah, We
besides
just,
him.
we just joined, so we're kind of feeling our way. I mean, it's really exciting. We've had, I put in my monthly report and it's
Is
Samantha.
that appropriate to like when I get we get emails? to
Yeah,
share with the
we
board
don't
too?
know.
To- Yeah, yeah.
Anybody and everybody for sure. If you don't mind, I can speak to that very quickly. We hold all sorts of events every month. We hold 2 networking events. One is chamber after hours, and one is a 12 to 12. So those are times where library trustees could absolutely get involved. You could go and run the library, not by yourself, but it's a great time to meet people. We get 50 to 70, 75 people at our after hours events every month. And then the 12 to 12 event is a networking lunch where the host provides lunch and then you just provide 5 minutes about yourself and whatever you want it to be. It could be about you professionally, or it could be about your service from the library or whatever, nonprofit, whatever it be. So that could certainly be something that a library trustee can get plugged into sort of on behalf of the library. If you want to. And then there's numerous other ways that I'd be happy to talk to you about any other time. There's definitely avenues for the trustees to get.
We're hosting a 12 and 12 here in August as well, although I wouldn't suggest you attend that one, but you know, the other
Yeah.
ones are great, but yeah, that'll be a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
been
fun.
really great, Samantha. I think especially because,
Yeah, I'm the assistant.
yeah,
Officially.
we were, yeah,
Officially,
officially, congratulations.
The other day. I've worked there for a year, but.
Yeah, we had been chamber members some years ago when I started and it was very little benefit, so we stopped, being a member, but since, Anthony has been really sort of, even before we joined, we started to see the benefits because you started letting us know about things and inviting us to, and we really saw how the networking, can help the library and we saw a lot more nonprofits involved, so it's really changed.
Vastly
And
involved.
we Samantha and I have both done some 12 at 12s and after hours, and it's been terrific. So we're gonna keep doing this.
My second question under the building discussion, I know we had the power outage, last week. And you said that in the report that the patrons hung out during the time that the power was out.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
So yes and no, depends on when it is. It depends on lots of factors. It depends on, because it wasn't a rainstorm. It was, in fact, I'm still not sure why the power went out, but it was light out. So there was a lot of light to the building. So it wasn't a hazard of people not being able to see. If it had been at night, I would have closed the library. It just depended on what was going on. So it just depends. So yeah,
I was
so
just wondering if there was some sort of policy that we automatically do X, Y, Z, with respect to patrons whenever the power.
no, we actually don't. And that's something, we could consider as well. Depends also on how long. I mean, I had an alert. I had an alert immediately knowing, like saying that we were going to be back within a couple of hours. So the first thing I always do is find out how long it's going to be closed. So if it's going to be longer, like if it's going to be a longer period, I go, so I've just been internally, and it's probably a good idea to have we might want to incorporate something in our emergency policy. So I've just been deciding case by case, and of course it also depends on whether it's a weather storm, like if it's thunder and lightning. It was daylight also, so story time was still going on, so we continued with story time because we wanted to finish that up. There were a bunch of kids, and also because we could our internet, because of our our battery backups, we were able to function fairly normally other than lights for about a half hour. So we were able to check people out, do all the things that we normally do. So yes, I think it is something that we'll want to look at for longer periods. It's another, again, the Building and Technology Committee that was also looking at if we get if we're looking at generators, depending on the level of generator. But yes, I mean, I've sometimes closed the library if it's obviously a bad storm and it's going to be hours. We've closed within a half hour. It just depends on the situation.
But I don't know the elevator.
Oh.
Kind of situation.
And the
Right, handicap doors don't work, the elevator doesn't work. Right. We do have the emergency lights. The thing is, we have emergency lights, so it's not completely dark inside. So the emergency lights go on. So that's the other thing. It's light outside, but we also have emergency lights. But what we realized is we do not have emergency lights in the bathrooms.
Or in the handicap entrance either.
So
Out
Well,
in
no,
that space. that
we
lobby.
have them, we have it, it's just shine, it doesn't shine. If that's not exactly, it's just they shine down the hall. They're, the spotlights are different. It's not that it's dark down. It's the lights shine differently, but we do not have lights in the bathroom. So we put lights in there. I've contacted the electrician to put some emergency lights in the bathroom. So that's sort of something that good came out of it. We realized like apparently code at the time did not require emergency lights in the bathrooms. One of our new with our building sustainability and HVAC, we're looking at an emergency lighting system upgrades throughout the building because some of our emergency lights are burnt out. So what we did in the interim was to put new exit signs that have the spotlights on them instead to cover. So that's what we've done. In fact, the in the children's entrance where what Samantha was talking about, the emergency lights, there's just not a lot there. We're putting another exit with spotlights. So it's a cheaper temporary solution since we will be getting some upgraded emergency lighting, but there is no emergency lighting in the bathroom. So we did put some lights in there. So we did discover that.
We have to use the tea lights for
Right.
that.
So-
Thanks,
So-
ambiance.
In some ways, this was actually a good exercise because we learned that, and that was really important to learn. So it does sort of depend on the situation and the weather outside, what caused it. And also if we know how long the power is going to be out.
One question, since we're talking about the monthly staff report, I'm just curious, in Mary's report, she talked about getting library being certified as a family place library. Are we doing that? Is there a cost involved in it?
Not, so this was something that Katie Dodge, the previous children's librarian, had started. So it was a grant. So we got $3,500. So there wasn't a cost other than the staff time.
Right.
At that point, and so there's no cost again. So she reapplied because Katie left before it was finished, and then we also wanted to retain our family place
Sure.
status. So there's no cost involved, just the time of Mary completing the training.
The last thing I was gonna ask about, and there's a brief mention of it, but can you give a quick status of the space committee's work? I know there was a mention that they've been meeting, so I don't know if anybody can just.
I'm actually gonna defer to Elizabeth for that one.
So we've had a couple of meetings and then we've broken into department teams, and each team is reporting back. We have a folder in Google Drive, so that each team will report back, we'll meet again, and then we're hoping to have staff recommendations to the building and technology team this spring. We had said March. but it's gonna
Anything else? Monthly staff, what are those? Building technology, no meeting. I take it, Leslie, that there have been no developments with EMC or.
So a little bit, the only thing I can give you a slight update, because they were here last week with Karen Robbins doing some more looking around in the old part of the building. That's the part that's
Right.
always the trickiest because age of all of the systems in that section. And Karen has let me know that they are, I mentioned at the last boarding meeting, but they're very, very close. And by the end of the month, we actually should probably have a contract. So we're getting close. So now that's what Tom Seekins, the president, had said to her last week when she spoke with him, because I did ask her to kind of get an idea, not necessarily when we'd have a contract. We weren't in like necessarily a huge rush, to have it right away, but what the status was. And he says they're almost at and ready to present pricing and contract. So I think by the end of the month, we can expect something.
And the timetable for, now that the interviews for the feasibility study for the capital campaign.
So,
That's
yeah.
Rebecca's from.
We're meeting, we meet weekly, we're meeting on Friday to talk a little bit more about that, so. Rebecca is hoping to have a written report completed within the next couple of weeks, and so we need to talk about the timing of making a presentation to the board. Whether we want Rebecca to make a presentation at the April board meeting or at a special meeting. So she is prepared to make one at the April board meeting. I'm not sure how long. I think she thought about 30 minutes, whether you want to have a special meeting or not. So that's for a discussion we'll need to have. I don't know, as far as whether it should be a special board meeting or just all on the agenda, but knowing that's going to make for a long board meeting. So that'll be up to the board to decide. But yeah, so but there will be, it will be done soon.
Okay. Michael, you think?
Nope, I'm just looking at you for direction.
Yeah,
Oh.
so we'll just need some guidance on when you would like that to take place.
Yeah, I think it's, we need to have it as part of the regular meeting.
Sure.
We would have to maybe truncate, come back some of the other
Mhm.
agenda items. Because this would be priority, let's say this is probably priority one, we would lead with the presentation.
Right.
And
And I think,
Just-
yeah, so she would come, it would be in person, and I think she said right, Samantha, about a half hour.
Yeah, but then we might wanna have, I would say it'd probably be longer. I'm
Right,
sure
because if there's
there'll be
questions to answer,
discussion.
right, so we might want to
Yeah.
plan like 45 minutes,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
But she is prepared, we let her know when the next board meeting is, and then she does have it on her schedule.
And I
Um,
think she said she has a 6 o'clock that evening, so she would have to be done before then.
Yeah, I mean, we could just make it like or my librarian's report, 2 minutes, it just, so we'd have to put her like first on the agenda.
What do the other trustees think about doing it that way rather than having a separate meeting?
I would do it at the regular meeting.
Yeah.
I think it would be harder to get us all to get together
Okay.
for another meeting. I'd rather have a longer meeting, know ahead that it's going to be a longer meeting, perhaps. And then, yeah.
Okay.
I feel okay as long as we put a hard stop on it. It's having a 4 hour.
Yeah, no, sure.
Oh, God,
Saying-
what? No. I don't
Well,
think in
that's
our
only-
longest
that's
meetings, I
only
don't think they've been
8 o'clock.
4 hours. I don't
So,
think
and
that.
that's only 8.
The other thing is, questions on any of the staff reports or anything like that, they can read the materials, maybe submit them.
Right.
Questions beforehand, so we can just bypass that.
Oh, right.
So I
So
think,
let-
right, maybe we just.
So let's plan on doing it as part of the regular meeting,
Okay,
and we'll lead with that.
right,
and we'll adjust the rest of the agenda as needed.
okay, all right, so we'll let Rebecca know on Friday. That'll be the plan, great, okay. So that will be the report, and you'll definitely get the written report ahead of time. You'll have plenty of time to read it over, and then she'll make that presentation. Next month's board meeting.
Anything else about building and technology related stuff? Otherwise, we can move on. Got a very good report to the finance, and if that raised any questions, we want to raise any points. All right, friends. So that, I take it they are still without a leader, chair, or president, or minute?
And with me to confirm that this was also her last year, the membership and treasurer, so they really need to, she just emailed me today and mentioned that again. So
Oh, I didn't know that's
really
coming.
need some leadership to step up. I don't know what they're doing to
Mhm.
find that leadership, but I know that Marcia mentions it at the beginning of everything.
This should be something that somebody else add to the agenda for the corporators meeting that we have on the 18th. Try to solicit participation for that, be a perfect spot for a corporator to get involved. Use his or her connections to support the friends.
No, but I mean, is that also a problem, or is it just sort of leadership?
I mean, right now, I think the bookstore's fine, Pat is.
Oh,
leading
yeah,
it,
they've
but
got
I
plenty of
could-
volunteers for the
yeah.
bookstore.
Well, I'm sure they can always use more volunteers. So, you know,
It might be helpful in that, meeting with all the incorporators to also give some description of the role of the president, what's expected.
Yeah.
And also the membership coordinator, those two positions are open.
Yeah, they have something.
Yeah.
Well,
And the
maybe-
treasurer.
Maybe Marcia could be present to, I don't know if that would, I mean, you know, if,
There
Well,
must be
Steve-
incorporators that are friends too, right?
right, I don't know who will be there. I mean, Steve,
Like Jim. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if Marcia would want to
Okay.
give a little spiel at the. I mean, she's that, you know, well, Steve will be there, so maybe she would, I don't know if that would be
Well, we
something
could-
we
They have a
want or
meeting
not,
next
but.
week, I could bring
could
it
you
up.
ask that up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be a good way to, I mean, there's someone who's got the experience.
Right.
And
Yeah.
field any questions.
And the other point is that I know this all came out of development committee meeting, we're bringing these people in. But I think that all the positions, and like we said, any of the committees that have open positions, it would make sense to be able to identify what the tasks are and what.
absolutely.
For the corporation, yeah.
The incorporators they have a role, they have the role of the corporators thing, and then we could like also bring like the development committee, we have a similar thing that's written up for them, that would be like this, you know, that we could kind of hand out, that says if you were to be part of these committees.
But I think it's also good to have somebody speak
Mhm.
and look them in the eye.
Yeah.
Say, what are you doing?
So you'll do development?
If you send me something, I'm happy to do it, but I think that's Eileen's role as the chair.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, right.
and she's not here, so we'll sign her up for that.
Exactly.
Governance, well,
Oh, I
yeah.
wanted to mention, I had asked about having that meeting on Zoom, but Leslie said that we can't.
We
do it.
can't, yeah,
I
so,
think it's
so,
too bad, 'cause the people had,
right.
corporators had asked me about it.
Yeah, I did speak with one in person, so, and I agree, when we get, in fact, we'll be talking about that under new business, so until we get our video conferencing upgrades, we can't have a meeting successfully where we have a discussion. We can have hybrid meetings, but anytime you want to have a discussion, anybody remotely will not be able to hear and comment what's going on in the room, and that's gonna lead to frustration and a poor experience for the corporators. That's if they were just listening, like when we had our annual meeting, even with the owl, and you're just listening to a speaker, that's one thing, but we really want an active discussion. And so this doesn't, until we'll be able to do that when we get our video conferencing, it'll work beautifully.
So at the annual meeting then,
Was-
once we
yeah.
had the discussion,
It's good.
people, I couldn't remember. I know
That
there
doesn't
was a
doesn't
Zoom
work well,
component.
but we have the owl then, which doesn't, the owl is kaput.
Oh,
So,
I see, we don't even.
right,
Okay.
but
Too
even
bad.
then, so like in the town,
Tired.
in the town history series, the complaints that we did get, I mean, everybody loved it, but the complaints we got from people remote who were, listening remotely was they couldn't hear the discussion going on. And that's gonna be the same problem. And so it's gonna be a very different experience for those who attend in person versus those who are remote. So until we can fix that, we really can't, do it. And I'm very sorry to say that because I would love for everyone to be able to
Yeah.
attend and, I know that our attendance will probably be smaller because of that. But it's, the remedy is coming.
Yeah.
So that's the most important part. It will be fixed. We will be able to have this. Well, I'm gonna talk about that under the.
Governance, Steve is just, he's not here tonight. The main thing we want to talk about, we talked about the board self-assessment program. We've got the raw data. We're trying to explore about getting a executive summary done by the order by map or someone they work with, so it makes it a little more manageable to have a discussion rather than going through the rather lengthy survey and trying to come up with, glean the important points from it. So that's at least that's one side of the evidence thing, and then, well, Lay, you can talk about the breakfast survey, anything else?
Yeah, we just reviewed last
And and it was just released, sent out, last night,
Yeah, so that's that.
and the deadline is
For the-
20 for trustees, 26th, so that 26th of the month. Anything else? Lou?
Well, just what Brian talked about.
Right, okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
It's coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
it's-
yeah,
Six, the corporator meeting,
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
And I will send out a reminder, it's probably tomorrow.
I'll be away.
I didn't, sorry, I was just asking about this.
An ongoing. It comes up and
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
not resolving that issue.
No, but the other thing about the governance is making, and getting in for timing. There are just so many things that have been talked about, that we wait and try to resolve in one block of changes or trying to make changes. You know, it's
Right.
discussion.
Yeah,
For
but
governance.
we didn't come to a decision, and I noticed that bylaws were listed when Leslie sent out.
Mhm.
But
I think
Wait a
that's kind
second.
of, I think that's sort of. that discussion. Probably like, decide which ones we want to, you know, touch on.
we talked about,
We're not, we're not coming to the corporate meetings.
oh, we're not?
No, you have to, if you're gonna make bylaw changes, you have to give them the changes in writing.
Okay.
Way ahead of, and so, and this is right, it's just a bit more general discussion.
Yeah, but we have some changes in mind, we can talk about
Right,
those, the
yeah,
first one
yes.
being the role of treasurer.
Is culling the list on? Culling the corporators list, that's.
I meant, I'll just be more than that.
Yes. Okay, then should be overlay it to policy and personnel, we saw the documents
Yes.
that you proposed based on input from the,
So that'll come under full business for material selection policy.
okay, right,
The other interesting area, which is a new one that might be coming down the pipe, is looking into more formal policy.
right. With this in mind, is there, let's see, are there any other uh, changes to the consent agenda? Not? Sorry, Michael, we have to have a vote now on accepting, on final, we did a motion to accept.
You just asked for a vote, 'cause we've already.
Okay, vote to accept the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Opposed? Nay. Looks unanimous. Treasurer's report. You had Anthony's documents. Are there any questions?
I have a number for you if you'd like to hear it.
Yes.
Regarding the endowment,
Good, no,
you wait for it every month and here it is. $8,492,722.97. And yes, that is.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll move to accept treasurer's report.
That's about all I've got unless there's any questions. Everything's pretty much moving.
Quite a bit for you to, we had a finance meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the end of, that's.
Yeah, that
That's a
figure is
big-
as of yesterday, as you can see, the
Yeah.
figure on the page was as of a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
great.
I mean, there's been some market.
Yeah.
Second.
Second, accept the treasurer's report. All in favor? Move on to development.
Yes, that's me. Since Eileen is not here
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
so.
so,
All right, annual fund as of 4:30 PM was at $113,989 with $2,226 in open pledges. So that's moving down, which is great, but although our goal is 135,000 this year, we want to smash it because next year's is 150,000. I'll be getting ready to do the spring appeal. I bumped the timing a little bit from the development plan because we hadn't really considered the Friends membership mailing, and we never have. But that goes out in April. And so I'm gonna try and time our appeal, so in case people are getting a Friends ask and an appeal ask at the same time, that can be confusing. So I'll be bumping that a little bit and helping with the Friends membership drive this year, which they're struggling, so I'll be helping with all of that. The gelato fiasco was last Tuesday. Did any of you make it out to the fundraiser? Well, thank you.
Several pints in my fridge.
I appreciate it because it was not successful.
Oh,
Nope, we raised $143, which means if you do the math, 75% of their sales meant that PFL supporters spent less than $200 for an entire 12-hour fundraiser. We probably will not be invited back because you have to have 50 people participating in order for them to consider you again. So, yeah. But we had some great celebrity scoopers. Mary did scoop in the afternoon right after school and said she did see quite a few students and kids from the children's room, so that's good. And then Leslie ran off after a very long day to go scoop for 2 hours in the evening. I did go and
Yeah, so smith.
Shane and I always, it's our date, we always go. The spelling bee is moving right along. I can't believe it's 2 months away. Posters are in my office. They were printed today by that printing. And the committee will start putting those out and around. We have 2 teams signed up. We have, so the Friends agreed to sponsor 2 teen teams. So last year we didn't get an income off of the teen teams, we just let them compete for free. So this year the Friends will sponsor $200 in that, and then a Friends member has matched that. So we can have up to 4 teams from the high school. I also asked Hyde, because they don't normally participate, but I sent their business
Yeah,
with a little, with one of these. And I got a couple of these if anybody wants to take them for getting other teams, but we also have the movie group from last year has agreed. I did see Carrie Emerson at the farmer's market, and she says she's working on putting a team together. So I think we're gonna start picking up soon. Bass Savings, I've actually asked all of the sponsors to put a team together. So Bass Savings has talked about it. They're gonna bring it up in their staff meeting today. And Now You're Cooking has talked about it, and they will have a team and maybe 2. I have said
They've got
something.
Smart cookies.
I know, about 2 teams, I was like, whoa.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Do we have a date for that yet?
What?
The date.
May 10th,
May 10th.
Friday, May 10th.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Barbara, I think, is competing.
Yes, Barbara,
Well,
is yes.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So that is coming along. Raffle items are starting to come in. We're going to start the raffle and then continue it in the library for 2 weeks after, but we are going to raffle off 1 to 2 baskets that night as well. One of them will be bee themed, and I'm hoping the other one will be book themed. So I'm gonna ask, like I always do, that the trustees, give some items to the raffle. We're not gonna do the wine basket this year because I have literally a cabinet full of beer and wine left
Oh,
over.
right, me too.
So we've got that covered. And if you guys want to throw a party in the next couple months, we've got it covered. But I would like, right?
April 9th.
At the wall meeting.
Like, I could bring-
At Michael's house. There we go. Wait a
There we
minute.
Done, scheduled. But I would like the board to maybe participate by giving items for the book raffle basket. I feel like that's appropriately themed. So anything book related, doesn't have to be books in particular. Gift cards to get folks a book themed clothing or anything like that that would go. Yeah,
Yeah, or
anything.
like,
Bookmarks.
yeah,
that are cool,
Mockingbird
yeah.
has some great book themes, like
Yeah.
for book read puzzles or teas.
They actually
or-
donated one of their book themed puzzles.
Oh,
I know, I'm already like, well, whatever basket that goes in, I'm going for it. And then I was also thinking a food basket, because you guys have done that in the past, so, main-based foods, fun foods, unique foods, something that we can put together that's really enticing, maybe some restaurant gift cards.
Yeah, right.
If you have questions, you can just email me and we can, talk one-on-one about our needs. So that's all coming together. What else? I think that's the B. Tickets will go on sale next month. I'm gonna do tickets starting, I think, April 8th. So get some time for the teens to sign up before we start selling tickets, but, let's see, development committee members, we are still looking for committee members. We've only got a couple of board members on the committee, 2 community members and 1 friends member. So we're really, in light of a capital campaign, should probably be ramping up our development committee because it is gonna be a struggle over the capital campaign to maintain our regular fundraising. So we want to make sure we have a good team in place. I have asked at the friends meeting. I have 1 friend that is maybe interested. But otherwise it hasn't picked up a lot of speed. So if anybody wants to join or knows somebody who wants to join?
We'll probably raise that at the appropriate meeting, right?
Yeah, I think that will help too, is trying to get some of them involved. But I don't think we have any board graders on the committee, actually, only trustee board graders. Just on some other side stuff, I will be attending the Association of Fundraising Professionals Conference in April, which I'm really excited about. I joined this year, for the first time. And I've been taking advantage of some of the stuff, but this is a 2-day conference down in South Portland. It's regional, so usually it's, it's in Vermont, it's in Massachusetts. So this year where it's in Maine, I thought I could actually do that. So I'll be gone for 2 full days in April, which is not convenient, but gonna be worth it. I've also sent out, there's an AFP event at the Farnsworth that board members can attend if anybody is available. I know it's only an hour and it's all the way up there, but it would be a really great resource because it is on board work.
Right.
Another option that I'm gonna send out is, we might be able to have a couple committee members join. I just signed up for a workshop with Andy Robinson, who is known in New England as one of the top board fundraising consultants. And he's doing something in Freeport, so on that program. So I signed up and got a scholarship for myself, but I am gonna send out the information to see it. I think Leslie's gonna try to attend and a couple of board members, because it is a full day long workshop on fundraising plans that is really meant for teams. So a team of a few people from the library would be ideal at that one.
When is it?
That one is May 23rd. Yeah. So exciting and busy times.
Okay. One question I had, Samantha, there, and maybe it was in your report, there was mention, I think, of something called Free Will Donor Group.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what
I
that
was
is.
just. gonna
So
have that
Free Will is an online, like as a person, you can just log into Free Will and write your will. They have all the tools. It's a very basic will, but it is free, which is, something that's not usually free. With our AFP membership, there's the other service that they offers for nonprofits to embed that within their website and to kind of use for donors. It would be a tool that I could help donors maybe develop their will and including the library in it. You can often put a link on your website, and just coming from the website, like say they were on the Pat Free Will website and they saw Free Will, that might trigger them, to consider requesting something in their will. So I'm exploring that. I think it's gonna be on the development plan for next year, just where we're considering an endowment campaign with the capital campaign, and we're putting some push towards planned giving, and then we'll explore options there. I mean, Free Will is probably our best. I have had a workshop with him, the gentleman who started it. He was at one of the philanthropy conferences that I've been to. And it's quite interesting, and it has shown to be beneficial to the nonprofits that use it. So I'm exploring.
Right, any other questions? We move to accept the development report. Motion, Michael, do you need a motion? Yeah. Need a motion, Michael, make a motion. Second. Favor? Accepted. Town area school activities. Is there anything more? I'm not.
For West Bath, I've never really to pick up again on the budget. They went through a revaluation with their tax abatement and it's causing them
Yeah, I just haven't heard from, usually I've heard that somebody's contacted me about coming to, and I just haven't heard from anybody, but I'm sure I will if they want me to.
It's gonna let it start.
Okay, oh, well, that's good to know, because I wasn't sure, was a little concerned, not concerned, but just wondering what was, Okay.
I think so.
okay.
Nothing else? Let's move on. Lynn, material selection policy, I think you sent around the revised.
Yes, I
Text.
mean, a couple, some of the changes were included in the, minutes, but the revised text, so we had reviewed it last month, and then it went back to the selectors. And then it came back to the policy. So between those changes, the version that just came out, had some highlighted in red where. So one of the things under the goals and selection that term community versus patron, we're really trying to make it more clear who the audience was for various levels, not just five. And where it was appropriate after going back and forth, by the time it came back to us and just now, the feeling was that community might be a more inclusive. So that's. And under guidelines for selection, changing. that. Our committee did not. Done that. One focus for the values. I think there's a third thing in the minutes that I didn't have.
That we didn't write,
Yeah.
I realized
just
that,
wanted to- Which was helpful to look, thank you for the details. in the-
Yes.
That was helpful. And that was on the second page where it's just under gifts and certain circumstances, Patrick Library may accept gifts.
Mhm.
And I think that's it, so hoping that addresses all changes that were brought up. Pretty much.
There a motion to set the policy as revised? Peggy, and seconded by Tommy, all in favor? Okay, great. Looks good. I think we've already talked about the board self-assessment. It's something that in more workable form for the board, unless people want to talk about it just in general. I think it might be worthwhile to move that off until, like I said, that's something that would have structured discussion a little bit. Okay. Then, last but not least, new business, community AV upgrades.
okay, so, I will give you a little overview and tell you where we're at, and then if Dean has anything to add, so we have two final proposals, that Dean and I have spent a lot of time reviewing, and, it's been really great. Dean also asked a team member from RSU1 whose specific expertise, and correct me if I'm wrong, is audio type equipment, so he looked it over as well. I assume it was a he. Anyway, to kind of compare, so we did have one of our vendors come back, ask if they could come back with a revised quote. They asked if they nothing that we didn't solicit. We did ask questions throughout the process of both the vendors, specific things for clarifications. We did not add, or to add on specific components, including like one had included the learning assist, the hearing assist, excuse me, the ADA, and so we went back to the other and wanted to have them add that hearing assist, because we felt it was an important component. And so, so we had a little back and forth there, but then we had one of the vendors asked, they really wanted our business and asked, could they tighten up their quote a little bit and bring us back another revised quote, and we didn't ask for it. And they did, and theirs was the higher quote, and their quote then became much more competitive quote. So we really looked at the final versions of both of them. They were very comparable. And so, Dean, do you have anything to add to that process before I get into talking a little bit more about the numbers?
No, I mean, I think both vendors came in
Oh, wait,
with good, good
wait,
quotes,
because we
well thought
can't
out.
hear, hold on. We should be able to hear out of the speakers for this. So, but hold on,
It's on
Dean.
mute.
Okay.
We're not on, this isn't muted.
This is the problem Hannah was having at her
Dean's
program.
not on mute. And I've never had this problem because we can hear like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me make sure the volume is up. It's all the way up,
So what we did, we just muted and unmuted like 100 times.
but this was on a different laptop too. This wasn't,
That's what Mary Kate's at the townhouse.
yeah. Oh,
Remember?
we didn't test this. Okay, so Dean, you're having problems with this. I haven't used this laptop for the board meeting. We're having trouble hearing you, maybe on our
He's in
end.
the chat now.
Okay, you've put something in the chat. So you can hear us though, Dean? Yeah, obviously. We're not
Yeah,
able.
we did not stage the audio challenge. Just at that point.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to.
Speakers, real time. Okay, Dean, now talk. I think I can hear you now.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, I think both vendors came in, both sat with the staff. They corresponded with us.
You're not, you were great. It wasn't you. Oh man.
That's okay. I mean, I think you have, everything that you want to say.
It,
And Leslie, I can hear him fine. I don't know why you guys can't hear him.
okay, try talking one more time.
Just go with it. You have all the detail. Okay.
Okay, all right, I'll just keep talking and then, so.
Sounds good.
So basically, they're very, very similar. The proposals are they're, the products are very, very similar and it's the same, type of system with the same functionality. So so then Dean had a really great suggestion and we asked them both. So one of the things that, and the proposals both cover a year warranty for both parts and labor should there be any problems. And then we asked them after that time, what is your fee for service fees? And so those are also comparable. So we wanted to see if maybe one charged more if there was an area that we felt we could find some differences there. So we've actually, I mean, I feel like we've sort of, between the two of us, we sort of we have sort of a recommendation. But there he is. So the bottom line though is, and so I've also talked, the Building and Technology Committee does not feel they need to be like part of a decision making to weigh in on this. So, and Christine is on that committee. So one quote, so the quotes are literally about $500. So they're basically one's 42,486 and one is 42,825. The ARPA amount that we have to spend is 31 on this particular part of the project is 31,689, which is a difference of 10,797. So that's basically 10,800. We have applied to the Coastal Maine Regional Broadband for a $2,000 grant to cover the learning assist. I met with, and I put in my monthly report, I met with two different representatives. They were very interested in that part of this project when I described it to them. We applied for the grant and we're waiting to hear. So we haven't heard yet. So that could bring it down a little bit. We also have a donor we want to ask whether they would be interested in considering helping to fund to bridge that gap. What I'd like to do today is ask the board to approve spending up to 10,800 out of capital reserve with the hope that it won't be as much as that, so that we can move forward so I can sign a contract to move forward so they can order parts. And we can get it scheduled, because Leah had the question is when would the system be installed? So we're looking at an late May, early June installation. One of the reasons being is they need about a week in the community room, and we don't have a week, a chunk of time with taxing and everything else going on that we can set aside until that time. So, but they won't even, until they have, until I have a signed contract, they won't order parts, things like that, and that takes time for those things to come
What
in
are
as
the
well.
names of the two companies?
So it's Pro AV, who we have not worked with before, but the schools, school has,
Mhm.
and Connectivity Point, who we have worked with before on several, but both, I think the school dean has worked, they've worked with both. Is that correct? So, yeah, they're both known companies to me, and they're both very reputable. So they're known throughout the state of Maine, and I think even beyond, they might be outside, so
Could you
either
give a
one.
quick, could you give a quick synopsis of what the enhanced capabilities would be?
Sure,
Let's see, even if we had a system right now that was working as in theory should,
yeah.
what will be the benefits? with
So,
the
yeah, the benefits of the lots of benefits. So with the system, of course, one of the benefits is people that are remote will be able to hear what's going on in the room, because of, there's going to be a ceiling mounted microphone array. So that's going to help the people that are what they call far away. So the people not in the room are going to be able to pick up everything that's going on in that room, as as if they were in the room. So it's going to enhance that remote experience, because hybrid is here to stay. It's also going to, we're going to have a camera mounted in the front and in the back. So we will be able to pick up not only like the camera view of a speaker, but also the camera view of the audience or a discussion. So you'll then be able to see as well as hear somebody asking a question from the audience. It will also, we're going to have, I think, at least 4. Right now we have 1 microphone channel. So you can either use a lavalier or a microphone. One,
Actually,
but not both at the same time, and not more than 1. This is going to give us, I
that's
think,
not
at least
true.
4 microphone channels. I think that's right, Dean. But
I think there's 6 total.
microphones going, if we have a panel discussion, or we want to have, more than 1 speaker at a time, or somebody, talking back and forth or whatever. So it's going to enhance that as well in the room. So give us better presentation options, and it'll also give us better options when we want to record. Say we want to have an author talk and record, we'll still be able to record the Zoom, but then we're going to be able to enhance the recording by being able to pick up various, the back of the room, the front of the room, or, depending on how we want to configure the room. Of course, it'll also improve board meetings when we have them. Our ability, what we record and you can watch on our YouTube channel, is going to look a lot nicer, be a lot better to hear, but much better professional quality. So that's just some of it. There's more as well. The other great thing about, there's going to be much better controls that are mounted on the wall, as well as we're going to have a tablet, a separate tablet for staff where they can sit, because usually when we have somebody doing a program, it's 1 person, whether it be a staff member or a community member in the room. So like when Hannah does a program, she can control some of the cameras from Zoom, but she can also sit and from a tablet interface, control the volumes, the cameras, all of things from a tablet. So it'd be much better experience for the person running the program.
So do you have 1 camera that will be in the community room, and would you actually do another camera, say, in this room, or is it all?
It's contained there. We did not explore we talked about it, but we did not explore other areas of the building to put additional.
Are these expandable? Is this particular model that they come up with something that's expandable, so down the road we could add on?
Yes, I believe so. So Dean, shake your head, or if you're you think so. Because I know, or you maybe put it in the chat. We did talk about that, like the ability to add on microphone channels, to add on, we also talked about making sure the the USBs were the latest so that they were not gonna get outdated in a couple of years. And then we had to spend more money, upgrading systems. So I know he's typing away. But we're very confident that the system is going to accomplish so much of what we need to do.
Upgrades in the future.
Right. So we can spend a lot more money and connect it in with.
Until they alter the original system.
Right, where they all, right,
5 years when everything's not.
right. Yeah, so, but we're really, we obviously know this is a much needed system, again, through the ARPA grant. We were able to fund the
Right,
majority of
right,
it. And so what I'm asking is for, then the board to approve spending up to a certain amount from capital reserve. Again, we hope that it will be that, but we won't know. And rather than having to come back to the board next month, when we do have more information about the grant and the individual.
Peggy?
To what extent will people have to be trained in using the system? I mean, it sounds a little complicated.
It's
so-
that, but it's really, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm describing, but it'll be fairly straightforward. Of course, staff will all be trained and we'll have some kind of sheet, and we'll certainly, even now, when we have, when like the climate, group, we have people, we usually meet ahead of time and Hannah will show them what it is they need to do. So we'll certainly work with any group that's using it ahead of time so that they understand how to use the system. So that's sort of what we do now. So, yeah,
And I may have missed this, but have you chosen one of the vendors or not yet?
we feel pretty confident now that we've selected one. Either one, though, they're comparable and that the price isn't really different. So,
What's your preferred thing?
well, I don't know. Is it okay? Because we haven't, I don't know if I want to announce, we haven't signed a contract. I don't know, just saying it publicly. I don't know because we haven't, whether there's any.
What did it come down to for your final selection?
It came down to, the fact that the company, we're very interested, this is all they do. That they do nothing else but AV. So that was one. There were basically two reasons. That we had one, this is all they do, and the RSU one, the person that looked at it did give a very slight thought that a couple of the pieces of equipment were maybe of slight better quality. But he said they were really, it was not significant.
Chat about the training.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
So, so I will, thanks for bringing that up, Dean. So one of the things too, there to make the experience easier for staff and a non-staff member using, there are presets. So like if you have a program and you want to have a camera set on someone at the podium, we can have a podium preset, as long as you have that podium there, or you have a boardroom preset. So there are all these presets to make it really easy for the user. So they don't have to configure the camera. They just choose. So it's gonna be really, so yeah, I'm glad, yeah. Right, they're not gonna have to configure a whole lot. It's the way they described it and showed us the interface it's gonna make it pretty easy. Yeah, and so the other thing is the company that we are, they're very motivated to work with us. I mean, they really have.
Tommy, you have a question? Well, I just wanted to, just
I don't know. I don't know if we can, that I just had the question because we haven't signed a contract and it's public. I just don't know how that works.
asking us?
This is a public meeting. I don't know that we can't, but I don't know what the protocol is for announcing something when I haven't contacted the vendor yet. I don't know what the protocol is. I've not contacted the vendor. So I'm not sure if that,
bring it back to us again.
no, this isn't the board, doesn't need to approve it. The board, I'm asking the board to approve is the capital reserve.
Right.
No,
For what? For AV to somebody
No,
that
can
you
we,
want
can we have, Tommy's trying to get a question. in.
Okay.
I just wanted to just draw attention and verify that we do have $122,000.
Yes,
So
that's not
That-
technically cash, but that's the amount that is in.
But that's fair game.
Correct.
no, we have, I was
Not
gonna,
entirely fair.
no. We have some of that's encumbered. So there is 7,500 of that is encumbered to pay for the other half of the capital campaign feasibility study.
Right.
And 5,000 is encumbered for roof repairs, which we thought were gonna happen before it snowed, but now it's spring, so I'm expecting to happen soon. So that's basically 12,500, which is encumbered. So it's 12,500, but it's not, that's not been spent, but there's, so it's 12,500 less.
About hundred.
That would leave 100, yes.
Right.
So, yeah. And again, I get Steve's question. I don't know what the protocol is. So, I mean,
I don't know that it's really an issue, honestly.
okay, I mean, I don't know, Dean. And I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I just don't know.
I'm fine with more suspense and read about it further, so
I'm just concerned about the authorization, spending $2,000. For what?
but we have been working on this project for quite a while.
I mean, it's either Pro AV or Connectivity Point, and their prices are $400 apart. So I just don't know. But I mean, is that enough information? I have I mean, unless, you know,
Well,
the building.
you're asking for a spending authorization, which in itself, you've said could come down by $2,000. So you're looking for a maximum amount of
Up to,
10,500.
right, and it could be less, so you missed this discussion is like it's up to, because we're waiting to hear on a grant, and we're gonna be talking with a private donor, it could be less, so I'm asking an up to amount, because I don't know what the final is, we're waiting to hear on a grant, which we should be hearing from anytime.
Okay.
So I just,
I'll make a motion that
Yeah, we have done up to authorizations
Yes.
for capital reserve.
so that's my motion.
All right,
I'm sorry, what was the motion?
To approve an amount up to 10,000.
800, that would be,
From capital reserves to be used for the AV system.
is there a second? Leah? All in favor? Motion's approved. Right, okay. Great. And then once it's changed, tell us then which vendor
yeah,
is
I will
selected.
send that out, and once
And
I
the
also
final
know
cost.
the final, I'll let you know exactly how much we're using once we hear.
And how
Donor
much
and a
again
grant.
was from the grant?
The regional broadband, $2,000 we're asking for
No,
the,
no,
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 the ARPA,
the ARPA grant, how much?
30.
oh, so it's 31,689, yeah. What
Some
we
of that
had
was
set
left over
aside.
From the pods.
Right, because we
Did
didn't,
not-
we spent
didn't-
less on the pods than we had planned. And again, with the ARPA grant, they're fine. As long as you do the projects, you say exactly how much you spend. They're fine with it being
And this total amount for the.
the total amount, and as
40,
long as you do the projects.
42,
Yeah.
43,000, the total amount of the
But
AV.
the total amount for the AV is, they're one is 42,486 and one is 42,825. It's a difference of less than $400. The capital, the broadband,
No, the source of this, the game we was looking at.
the
ARPA.
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 We got an ARPA grant a few years ago, a small one for $3,500, and that was we used it for purchase of, I think, of materials.
And
But this was it was a very
my
different.
recollection is there was money left over in that, and they just said keep it. Is that correct?
No. This is something very
All right.
different. This was, no, the other ARPA grant was actually something all libraries got, because the state library from the monies, they got this money and they decided they were going to disseminate it this way. They gave all libraries $3,500, and all you had to do was say you were interested. This was a very different process. This was a competitive process. The other one was not.
One question, just, well, it seems like with so many of these things with tech, I mean, what's the lifespan for when it might need to be changed again? I don't know if that's
I'm looking to
fair
Dean
question.
because
I mean, it feels like it wasn't that long ago with the owl. But That, I always thought that was new, and now it's different, so.
So, yeah,
I'm always sort of blown
I mean,
away
we've
by
had
it.
the owl about 4 years. So Dean will have to put that in the chat. I don't, yeah.
Probably like a cell phone.
Cause we've never purchased a system like this. I mean, the only thing we've done in the community. Yeah,
I should start setting some money aside now.
Right?
yeah, well, I
Let's
could,
upgrade it to some next.
8 to 10.
8 to 10, yeah. So this is yeah, we've never done these kind of upgrades. The only thing we ever done with the community room is put in
At
a.
this point, do we want to, go into executive session to talk about what we'll do for the Library Workers' Day? We could also do that via email, but it might be a little faster. We'll go to executive session. It is 6 o'clock. I know it's gone on. Anything? Any thoughts, Michael?
That's the wrong person.
Why don't we send an email? Somebody can come up with a good suggestion and then we'll all.
I'll come up with some suggestions and
That would be
circulate
great.
them to the
Yeah.
rest of the other trustees.
And then I can be included in that conversation.
Steve may not realize that, may not, it's considered, we're not going into executive session to discuss the board self-assessment.
Right.
We're waiting.
Did you know that?
What's that? That you're not going into executive, or that you are going?
That would not.
That you're not. Okay.
Because we don't have the executive, but we have, we'll
Summary.
hope we have the executive summary.
We thought it'd be more
Yeah.
helpful.
Well, you were on the exchange, with Nan before I left.
Yeah,
I did inquire, and they're, it's not a service that they provide. They would recommend if we wanted
Yeah.
an executive summary and an implementation plan, I'll call it, they would recommend a consultant for that. And then I left town, so
Right.
that's
weird, yeah.
my conversation with Andy. That they're not gonna provide us, we can try to provide us at least a crude executive summary, unfortunately, without the finesse that NAP might offer. Unless we want to explore an additional expenditure, the survey costs $150. We invested $150 in the survey. I don't know if you mentioned the survey at all. I think the government's committee looked at it, we'll share it with the entire board, obviously, but I mean, with or without an executive summary, we would share it with the board, although the report that they put out is 90+ pages.
Yeah.
The summary of all the responses totals about 90, but I think from just the very quick visual that the guidance or the governance committee put on, it's fast, the results are very fascinating. They're interesting.
So, but the board hasn't seen it, the
Well, we
results.
were hoping to be able to produce an executive summary
Oh, okay.
to accompany. We will share it with the board. There's actually no question on that. It's not a question of transparency. We were trying to cover it with an executive summary. And we hoped 3 weeks ago, that NAP would provide that additional service. And in fact, they will guide us to a third party consultant who would do that. So, I mean, they're not leaving us out in the cold. But it's not something that NAP will do in-house.
we don't know.
And I did not explore beyond that to find out what the cost of a consultant would be, or how quickly it would turn around. I mean, maybe one way to proceed perhaps, and I haven't talked this over with the committee, so, but one way to proceed perhaps is to share the 90+ page summary, and if people found what I think struck the governance committee in it and want to make that additional investment in funds, we'll talk to the budget minister and see if we can come up with a few. Because I think it would be in the neighborhood of a few thousand.
Yeah.
You know, consultants don't work for nothing, right? So 2,000 to 4,000 maybe. I mean, I have absolutely no idea what it would cost.
Depends on what you want, whether you want them just to summarize or whether you want them to. Yeah, it depends
So
on
it
what.
would be an additional expenditure of funds to get that summary. So
Steve, before we did the assessment, didn't we think that they would do a summary? I mean, we knew we'd have to pay, but didn't we think they would? I was trying to
no.
remember that.
No, I don't
No?
think we all,
Yeah.
you know, our communication with Molly, I think is her name, was that she would help us with the, you know, she would manage the survey, which she did, and get it out. I don't think we thought beyond that. You know, frankly, there was skepticism probably of what we would get back.
Yeah.
But I think when the governance committee looked, like I said, very crude thing, because we're going response by response, not looking at an aggregation. People were, I applaud this board. I mean, I think people were extremely thoughtful, put time in. I think the comments were great. There were areas of cohesion where at least I didn't expect to find it in terms of looking at the response. And there were some interesting insights that the governance committee drew from. So
Why don't we, should we go ahead, and just send out the report?
Somehow I thought that had happened. It didn't go out to the whole board.
now we were trying to cover it.
No,
Okay.
we said we were going to have, an executive.
Somebody to go with the.
Yeah, and we also wanted to have the executive session first, I believe.
Well, we
Before
wanted
we
to, we
said-
wanted to distribute it and talk about it in executive session.
Yes. and
Maybe
remember,
that
it's an
was-
Executive session.
Yeah. Okay, well,
So do you feel you can get, do you think that the committee can put something together as an executive summary?
We
Or is
can
it
give
just-
it, we can give it our best shot. Yeah, we're not gonna suggest that we have the expertise that.
I'll just be honest, that I think if you send something that's 91 pages of information, that's not gonna get read by everyone.
Well, it's not all text. It's,
It's basically survey.
yeah,
I mean, it's just that
Yeah.
it's graphs,
graphs.
it's graphs and there weren't comments after.
Did they do it though? Like, did they do individual response? And did they also give you the summary? They didn't give you, so the sentence, and not knowing what the survey, you're not remember. So they didn't give you the summary responses, only the individual?
When you say summary, like. correct.
So I don't know.
I mean, you get
what-
the percentages.
graph,
the-
all
you get
the
the graph
Yeah,
and
it's a
the-
graph.
Aggregate into.
So
Oh, you
they're
get
aggregate-
aggregate answers.
Right.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I don't remember what it's, okay.
But there were a lot of questions.
Oh, because there were a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
There were a lot of questions and everybody answered with-
Okay.
With a lot of, like I said, a lot of detail and
Okay,
in
I get
response.
it. I get
So
what it
then
was.
there'd
aggregate.
be like an outlier, just like it'd be a good opportunity to just be able to explain things better. I mean, I think sometimes we
We can try to
there's a
cover
lot
it
to-
and bring it back.
Yeah,
I apologize. Yeah.
so should we put this back on as for an executive session? Well, can't do it next time, we're gonna have a lot, we can't really, because we're on the presentation on the feasibility study for the fundraising,
Yeah, well,
so.
can't do it right today.
Put it off to the following meeting and that can
I'm
be,
sorry?
put it off to the following meeting, then it can be a much bigger, better discussion. Like, we'll have more time to get them to do the work.
Okay, blame for me then, for that. All right. Unless there's anything else, is there a motion to adjourn? Don't strain yourself, Mike. Second? Everybody, all in favor? Thank you.
If I could motion, I would be.
You'll be able to enjoy-
Okay, you know, okay.